Hi, welcome back or welcome for the first time to my channel, Intentional with Jennifer. I'm Jennifer, and this is my second video, and this is my empties video for essentially January through May. I wasn't sure if I was going to be doing empties or not, so I saved a bunch of them, but some of them I had already discarded, but I did happen to take pictures of several things. So I went through, and keeping in mind that this is essentially 2/4 worth of empties. So it was an incredibly long video. So you can either grab a snack, grab a beverage, and just sit back and veg out to it. Or if you're like the people in my household, we love to body double with others. So you can absolutely body double, get your chores done, do your dishes, clean your kitchen, declutter your pantry, do laundry, yard work, whatever it is that you're needing and wanting to get done to live intentionally in your life. And if you do what I do, when I'm listening to other people's videos and I do that, sometimes I hear something, I'm like, ooh, let me walk over there and back it up. Let me look at that product they were just talking about. So I hope you find some value in some of the stuff. I already warned you in my first video, I can make a short story long, and I do really just tell you about my different experiences with the products. I have purchased all my own products myself. I do not have affiliate links. I do not get PR. I am not into any of those kinds of things. This is just simply my journey of trying different products to find the right ones for me, and then challenging myself to finish things up, whether it's stuff that I found on my own to try, or whether it's something that my daughter was done with and said, hey, do you want to try this out? Which we do that back and forth, which has been really fun for me because I get to try out some stuff and find out if I like the dispensing unit for it, if I like the formula for it, if the color was something I enjoyed, or if it's just really not my cup of tea. So I really enjoy that aspect too. And so yeah, I hope you gain something from the video. And thank you for showing me grace along the way as I'm learning to do YouTube and as I'm learning to film in a more aesthetic manner. And I am doing all of this from my phone at this time until I know what I'm doing. I don't want to invest in any more equipment than what I had from when I was doing TikTok. So I do have some lighting and, some like mini tripod kind of stuff that you travel with, but I don't have a vlogging camera or anything of the like. So I am doing stuff from my phone. I am flipping back and forth between front camera and back camera. I am finding different places in my house that looks like it works for doing the recordings. And so far, I am having fun trying to figure stuff out. And thank you. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I look forward to meeting you along the way. Take care, and I hope you gain something from the video. Okay, hey there. So let's go ahead and do this empties video. Now, just to give some background, like a year ago, I had been doing TikTok and I did some of like the Project Pan kind of videos. And so I did kind of get into a habit of saving some of my empties for that. And then I took a break, which is probably permanent from TikTok, and decided to transition over here to YouTube. And I kept some of my empties and some I took pictures and decluttered. So as I'm figuring out how to edit here on YouTube, I will try to add the pictures in. No promises, but I really hope I can do it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. We're going to start with this item here. All right, this here, and forgive me as I'm trying to find how far away I need to hold everything. This here is the Morphe Natural Wonder 18. This, I bought this 4+ years ago. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be fantastic. I'm going to love all of these colors. I did very much like the colors here. This one here, there's like a pretty decent dip. The purples here, I tried to like get into some of the others. But at the end of the day, I did not use this enough. I didn't use it enough. It got too old. And as a result, things just weren't working properly anymore. The mattes weren't blending anymore. The shimmery, glittery ones would swatch nicely. They looked good in the pan, but they wouldn't go on my eyes. They wouldn't stay on my eyes. I did all sorts of different eye primers to try to make them stick. They kept separating. They just weren't performing. My fault. I waited too long. I learned a really great lesson from this though, so I don't regret having done this. What I learned is doing eyeshadow pans this big, it's just not right for me. I have found that I really prefer the little 4 pans. That works best for me. This was too much eyeshadow for me to manage. All right, so there's that. So I am decluttering that. I did not go through it. I'm decluttering it because it just didn't work. All right, so this next item that I have here, this here is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer, and it is in the color Bisque. This product, I mean, you see a tiny bit of like settling in here, maybe a windowing. I don't think I sufficiently used this. This is a travel size. I purposely got the travel size in case I didn't love it. I heard mixed feedback on this. I am super dry. My skin is so very dry that I think for me, this just didn't work out. It looked nice when I first put it on. I made sure there wasn't too much. I did all the tricks that I learned from so many different amazing artists that talk about, crinkling your eyes, using the Q-tip to remove the excess, using the beauty blender to remove the excess, all the tricks. I tried all the stuff. It would look good for about maybe 45 minutes. And then after that, it just really started to look super dry and it was not attractive. Now, the reason why I really wanted to try to do the Hourglass is because I also got some Hourglass foundation and I am pushing through trying to finish that out because it was very costly. I wasn't in the appropriate color match for any of the shades, and so I actually bought 2 to create my own shade, which is a beautiful color match, but I don't love that formula either. So I am just choking through trying to get through it. I am a little bit more than halfway through those 2 bottles, I would like to say. It's a little bit hard to tell, but the windowing goes down pretty far. So I think I am. And I just don't love my makeup on the days that I use that. So it's okay. I also just really don't like to waste. So I am decluttering this. I did not use it up. I am decluttering that. All right. So this next item here, this I do love. This is the Kosas concealer, and I've had it for so long that none of the stickers are on it. This particular color, though, my oldest daughter, she has far more experience with makeup than I do, and she has been kind of my go-to of helping me with colors and stuff. This is actually the color that she uses, and she is a smidge fairer than I am in skin tone. We have similar undertones. She's more of a pinky peach undertone, and I am more of like a pinky to neutral undertone. So although this looked nice, this really kind of was the equivalent of the 2016 very bright under eye concealer look on me. And they did not have this one in a travel size. And it did take me a good year to get through this. And I was using it every which way. I was using it under eye. I was using it in try to trick out my marionette lines. I was using it as an eye primer. I was using it all sorts of ways to get through it, hopefully before expiration, although I think I was using it beyond expiration. And it worked fine. and the emolliency of it is really good for me with my dry skin. But I think the color was ever so slightly too light on me. And then when I wanted to travel, I really didn't want to travel with this big of a size because of the 311 rule with TSA. And so I actually then went and checked out at Sephora to see if there was a mini size that was a color match for me. And I did find a color match that was actually much better for me. I'm over 50, and so the recommendations have been if you're have a more of what is the word they're using for older skin? I don't know. I'm brain fogging because that's what we do when we're in menopause. But essentially, if you don't have 20 and 30-year-old skin, they're recommending more mature skin. That's the phrasing, mature skin. If you have more mature skin, they're recommending to do a color closer in line with your skin color, maybe even slightly darker for the under eyes, which the color match that I did is that, and it's been working out well, and I'm able to get it in a mini. And in the mini, I feel like that's something that I'm going to be able to get through without it expiring. Is it technically costing more per fluid ounce? Yeah, probably a little bit. But I won't be using expired product and I won't be wasting product. And so for me, in the end, that ends up being financially feasible if I'm not wasting product. Okay, so there's that. Next thing I have here is my favorite sunscreen, and it is the Kosas Dream Beam Comfy Smooth Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 40. And this is gosh, I'm not sure which color it is. It comes in two different colors, and there's like a, I think a metallic-y kind of lid on the other one. This is the lighter shade, and I, generally speaking, I fall in the category of like a light to medium with the, like I said, the pinky to neutral undertone. So this one worked really well for me. It has like a slight tint to it. It feels really good when I put it on. I don't ever get like an oily sensation. It doesn't clog my pores, and it works really well under my foundation. And my favorite foundation is actually the Kosas foundation. And I actually just finished one of those. So when I do my June empties, I will show you that and the color that it's in. And because I've been bouncing between this sunscreen and a Tatcha sunscreen, it did take me a lot longer to get through this than what I think is going to end up being. I use my Tatcha sunscreen when I'm going to use the Hourglass foundation, and I use the Kosas sunscreen when I'm using my Kosas foundation. So once I get through all that Hourglass, I'm actually not going to do the Tatcha sunscreen anymore. So when I get through that, I will probably not purchase another one of those. But I have found the glory of when you do a Sephora order online, you are able to get 2 free samples with each of your orders. And I have started getting things to try them in that fashion. And sometimes I get things that I know I like so that I have a couple days worth of sampling on it so I don't have to buy a new thing yet. All right, so there's that. Let's move on to some moisturizers. So a while back, I got what I have been calling the bougie bag, and it was actually, they called it the Rouge bag. So, and it literally said Rouge bag 1, so I think there might have been 2 options, and I ordered it actually while I was on a trip because it was during those, I think they call it Sephora days, where each day they had a certain brand that there was a discount on. And I think most of them were like 50% off. And I did utilize that for a couple of different things. And so I was eligible to get that Rouge bag, what I call the Rouge bag. And inside were a whole lot of different things. This Augustinus Bader cream was one of the items in there. Here is the fun thing. Okay, so this is a really, really costly, very, very costly moisturizer that immediately when I saw it and I looked it up, I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going to thoroughly enjoy sampling this, but I doubt I'm ever going to buy it because this is really, really costly, and I don't know that I can justify that price point. But then when I was using it, it required so very little product. It actually, this little tiny container, this is a zero point 0.2 fluid ounce, 7 mils. It actually lasted for, I think, 2 weeks using this as my nighttime cream, which I find to be absolutely wild. The scent was fine. It felt really nice. My skin seemed to like it. Um, it almost seemed like the lines were less pronounced even. So it has some sort of AVEC TFC8 technology. I don't know what any of that means. I know this is supposed to be one that a lot of the celebrities enjoy using, and so I, got to feel like I was a celebrity for a couple of weeks. The jury is out on whether I will do this at any point. If it ever goes on sale, and when I say sale, I mean probably better than the Rouge Status 20% off during the twice a year sale, I might consider. But I'm really trying to be conscientious about my products that I use, and really just really thinking about what I'm using and what I'm spending, and if I can get through the products before expiration date. So that's a big factor for me. Okay, so there's that one. The next one that I got in that same package was the La Mer moisturizing cream. This one lasted me, actually, it was 3 to 4 weeks. This lasted 3 to 4 weeks, which was absolutely wild to me. So here's the super fun part about that. I came back from my trip and the Sephora sale was happening within like a week. And I did my order online to pick up in the store. And the reason why I did an online order to pick up in the store was, one, I was concerned about my preferred items that I was stocking up for the next 6 months over might have sold out. But also, Sephora does this thing where you can be earning additional points when you complete these challenges. And so one of the challenges was to either do a same day delivery or make an order online for pickup in the store. And then you got like 100 points for doing that. And I said, well, gosh, I was planning to do that anyways. So yeah, let me get an extra 100 points for doing that. And I've really been banking my points, and I utilize those points that I earn to be able to get things where I can try things that I don't want to get even a mini. I'd prefer to get their tiny little sizes so that I can try something out. Also, I get mascaras that way, and I get things for my younger daughter for her to be able to try because she's on her start of her journey to figure out what's right for her skin. So this La Mer, the scent was nice, a little bit stronger than everything else that I have. I can see how if someone doesn't like scents, like perfumes and such, this would probably not be your choice. It was not overpowering for me. It had a little bit kind of like a florally scent, and I like floral scent, so that worked out for me. So that was the La Mer. And then the next item, I actually purchased this in the sale, and I got the tiny little mini. And I have tried, I think, just about all the Tatcha items at this point. So in 2025, I really did want to try to figure out which items worked for me and which items did not work for me. And I do have some redness that I get on my face. I do think that I might be starting to get, a little bit of dermatological issues. When I go back to my dermatologist, I'll talk to them about that. But this is the Indigo Overnight Repair. And this also lasted me a really long time. And when I was using the La Mer, I was using that during the day. And then I was using the Tatcha at night. Now, during all this time, I was able to wait until June 1st to actually have to open up any of my replacements that I purchased in the Sephora sale. So between all of my little samples and things and finishing things up, I was actually able to get 2 months of use between all these creams that I was bouncing back and forth between like my AM and my PM use, which was really awesome. All right, so that was that one. And then this here is an empty from my Tatcha Dewy not cleanser, the Dewy cream. So I do prefer the Dewy. I like to get the refill pots. I am trying to be conscientious about contributing as little to the landfill as I can. You can see like I really scraped it pretty clean here. I use that little spoon to get it all out. And I've been using the same main container for a year. And I think this is like my third refill on that. I do think I'll probably go through 2, perhaps 3 refills in a 6-month window. I am trying to figure that out. When I said in 2025 that I picked up a lot of different products, I picked up a lot of the different serums. I did a lot of the different moisturizers, really trying to figure out which one was my preferred. And the Dewy Skin is the one that I prefer the most. It felt like it was closest in the price point that I felt comfortable in spending, but then also just really felt really nice and has kept my skin very hydrated. I am just dry and dehydrated, and this has really worked well to keep that in check for me. So there is that. So let's move on to skin cleanser kind of stuff. So this I got, I'm not sure exactly when I got this, honestly. It's the Sol de Janeiro. It's the Rosa Charmosa Dewy Cream. I want to say probably sometime around the time of when they launched it. And this particular size is the 2.5 ounce, 75 mils. So this was great for travel. When my husband and I, we went to Italy in March and we renewed our marital vows. And I needed to travel with all sorts of shenanigans to make sure that I had everything I needed for that, because I did my own makeup for the ceremony. I did have a hairstylist because I was unsure how my hair would behave, and I'll tell you about that in a second. And I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of creams and lotions, because in other times when I have traveled, if my skin starts to get dry due to how the weather is in the area, my skin gets more like an eczema. And so I have to really work on overall hydration. I did like the Sol de Janeiro in the past. I don't usually spend this kind of money on a product, but I do, for the most part, do rose scented items because most of my perfumes have a rose base. And I learned through TikTok about scent layering. And so when I started scent layering, I really went with having my shower gel and my lotions, and even my deodorant has a rose scent, so that when I go to do my perfumes, it doesn't matter which perfume I'm doing, everything works out well. So I had this with me for that week in Italy. It thankfully was not too dry or anything. This smelled amazing. It felt amazing. I only went through about half of it, and so I was able to finish it off when I came home. I will keep this container. I do keep all of my little mini containers that can travel. Even if I haven't repurchased the item as of yet, I will clean them, dry them, and I store them in my area where I keep all of my uh, TSA approved travel items, so that if I do have this item in the future in a larger, I can depot into this and travel with it. So that's just something that I do so that I don't have to buy minis anymore. So this Nivea Skin Firming, it took me a while to get through this because I started using some other lotions. This was all right. It doesn't really have much of a scent to it. It felt nice on the skin. As far as the skin firming, I didn't really notice any change in the firmness of my skin, but I did feel hydrated. So just in that, it really kind of got the job done in that aspect, and it didn't compete with my fragrances. So that was great, and I liked that. All right. With the scent layering, and I mentioned that I learned about this through TikTok, I also learned about doing in oil. And so I chose the Palmer's cocoa butter formula, the skin therapy oil. And this one's natural rose hip. So it has that rose, a little bit of a rose scent to it. And it's supposed to help with scars, stretch marks, dry damaged skin, uneven skin tone, aging skin. I have a lot of hyperpigmentation on my arms. I didn't really notice any marked improvement with that. I do have uneven skin tone everywhere. I have dry, damaged skin. In my early to mid 20s, I had a really particularly heinous sunburn on my arms. It very much damaged my arm, the skin of my arms. That's where I have the majority of my hyperpigmentation. I also have hypopigmentation there. And so my skin is feeling very moisturized and it's not feeling paper thin or anything like that anymore. And it's helped resolve the itchiness that I had with my skin. So in those areas, that's been great. I did not see any improvement to any of my scars. I have a number of scars. I didn't see any improvement. I don't know if it's because what it needs to do is be on a fresh scar, but it certainly didn't do anything for scars that are, 40 plus years old. All right. So this is probably like my second or third one of these. I do really like this one. It feels great. I kind of bounce back and forth between whether I put it on after my lotion or whether I put it on in the tub after I've kind of like slicked the excess water off after the shower and then put it on. Oftentimes after my shower, I will not towel dry except for my back and any of the creasing fold areas that could, in theory, get rash and yeast infections if you do not dry well. Everywhere else, I leave to air dry, and I'll put this and lotion on, and then air dry, and it just really helps to absorb in all of the benefits of doing the hydration. All right, so there is that. And then also um, I do a dusting powder afterwards to just help control any of those fold areas that you might get sweaty. Dusting powder, I mean, this is what our grandmas used to do to take control of when there's humidity and such going on. I really like this one. It's the Rosewater and Jasmine. And what is the brand name? The brand name, oh gosh. Greenwich Bay Trading Company. And this one contains cornstarch, kaolin clay, aloe powder, shea butter, and the fragrance of the jojoba oil or jojoba oil. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it depends on where you're from and who you learn to talk from. But this one I really like. Again, it's got the rose scent, and a lot of my perfumes also have some jasmine to them, so this one worked out really well. This is a 4 ounce, and this lasted me a crazy long time. Like, I am not going to fib. This lasted so long. When I do a stick deodorant, I don't put this on my underarms, but when I do a spray deodorant, I do. And then it does not do any sort of caking. So with the deodorants, this is the one that I will normally use. It's the Dove Advanced Care Dry Spray. It's supposed to be 72 hour. I've never tried it out to see if it's 72 hours. And this one is Rose Petals. I first came across this in Target. And then, just like most things that I purchase, it stops existing in the locations that I found it. But I have found it on Amazon, and I can usually buy them in a 3-pack. So I had finished this one off, and although I had purchased my next go round of it, I did not open my next series yet, even though when I started this one, I went ahead and bought the next batch from Amazon because on occasion, even though I'm a Prime member, it doesn't come that fast depending on who the seller is. And so there have been times, I think when I first bought these, I had to wait for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And certainly on that powder, I had to as well. So what I did was I had my replacements, but I hadn't finished this before I went on that trip. When I went on my trip to Italy, I think I was my second day in, and the tiny little deodorant that I had that I decluttered there in Italy. I ran out second day in. And so I had to go to a pharmacy in Italy and purchased this. So I think I got this in Rome. So this is Lycia. Uh, I will not be purchasing this again, even if I run out in Italy again. I desperately dislike this one. It just gassed me out. Like there was so much additional spray in the air. It was nothing like my Dove one, which is very targeted. It doesn't like off gas a lot. This off gassed. It just was like it looked like a smoke bomb went off. It was kind of crazy. So because of that, it was like I kind of choked on it the first day. It got to the point where I was putting a towel over me and then spraying it to try to cut down on the amount. I would spray it inside the shower and then quickly get out. I was doing all sorts of things. So when I was finished with this, I was super thankful. But also, it was not super cheap. And so I did not want to waste it. I brought it home and I was like, I'm going to use it because I don't like wasting. So although, yes, life is too short to be using items that you don't love, I also don't like wasting money. And so I figured it's not going to last forever and I can just, deal with it for the time being. So that's what I did. All right. So when it comes to removing my makeup at the end of the day, I usually use the pharmacy brand. I've tried the e.l.f. brand. I like the pharmacy brand the best, the balm. But this I found in my linen closet. I have zero clue where it came from. I'm going to venture to guess that someone or other decluttered to me because I don't think I've ever actually purchased a Clinique product. But I was really surprised. This worked really, really well. But it's messy. It's messy to work with because when you open it, it's got the nice little thing. It's just it's a big hole. So there's no pump or anything like that. So I wouldn't get this again. I don't know if the bigger sizes have a better dispensing mechanism, but I didn't appreciate the dispensing in this because it kind of would spill all over my hands and I wasn't able to control the amount. I felt like I kind of wasted a bunch. But honestly, I didn't buy this. I don't know where it came from, but it did work well. And so if the dispensing mechanism is not a problem for you, this worked well. And it did not irritate my sensitive skin. So that was great. All right, so let's go ahead. Sorry, I'm making a mess over here. I'm crashing everywhere. All right, so let's look at a couple of other things. I've started trying once a week or so, if I can remember, to do eye masks. So this one, the Mask Kiss brand, this one's in the 24 karat gold. I bought this huge thing before Christmas, and my two daughters and my bonus daughter and myself all had these in our stockings. And so there was 24 gold. There were like a few others. I think one with like hyaluronic acid and some others. And this has just happened to be the one that I was doing the last time. All right. So it was nice. When you go to take them out, though, they can be a little bit messy because it kind of sticks. And so when you go to slide it out, they're on here. And then the part that you're supposed to be using is facing down on here. And it's got a lot of liquid in there. So you got to be really careful when you're pulling it out. Also, this one always would get stuck down at the bottom because this is like the fourth one of these types that I have used. I just hadn't been saving all the things. So how many I've used, I couldn't like for sure. I don't know. I didn't even take pictures of all these, but this one I saved. All right. And then I think probably my youngest daughter gave me this, which was an essence sheet mask with honey extract and calendula extract made in Korea. I have no idea where she got it. And she got it strictly because it had Winnie the Pooh on it. Like, I guarantee. She does tend to get me a lot of things that have Winnie the Pooh. I've always loved Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was my favorite when I was a little girl. Winnie the Pooh is something that I have gotten for all my kids. Pooh Bear and ER are the ones that I will take pictures with when we bring the kids to Disneyland. I did, apparently, the story that my mother told me is that I had been to Disneyland as a kid. Now, I was also only maybe a few months old. It was really a trip for the adults. They didn't even take a picture of me. So I kind of live by picture it didn't happen. And if I don't remember it and there's not even a picture of me, then I don't count that. And so I really only count the times that I have been to Disneyland as the times that I've taken each of my children for their 5th birthday. So obviously, kid one, she got to go 4 times with our family because I didn't leave a kid home to bring one for their 5th birthday. So the last one, he's only been there 1 time, only for his 5th birthday, and all of the others had at least their birthday and the kid after them or multiple kids after them. And then the first 3 also have had other times that they've gone and done that on their own. So, but this was nice. It looked funny. It had a cute little Winnie the Pooh scene across the front. So it was adorable. My husband laughed and I did too. But it did feel nice. So there's that. And then this, I picked this up probably when I was doing some of those Sephora point things where you earn points for doing things. And I picked this up because we are currently having this period of time where we're trying to be extra conscientious about where we are spending our disposable funds. And so I am taking a break from getting my pedicures, which I was only doing once a month, but I'm taking a break from doing those at the salon. And instead, I am doing things like that at home, where when I soak in the tub, I use the pumice stone, and then I use one of these afterwards. This has been really nice. It's got lavender in it. It's got like specifically a right foot and a left foot, and you tie it on. And I don't know if it's like super specific. I think it's so that when you're walking, it doesn't pull on it in any sort of way, but you can tie it on so that you can walk in it. All of the components for the foot care is actually inside, and it is very clean and dry on the outside. So yes, you can walk across your house in it if you're going to be doing anything else. And so I did like this. It was $5, but I got it on a discount, so I got it for less. I will be getting more of these in the next time that there's anything where the Sephora brand has a percentage off. I will get more of these. I did enjoy them. Okay, so I talked about mentioning hair, and here's the story about my hair. All right, so my whole life, and then like eczema stuff. My whole life, I originally grew up in the Phoenix metro area. I live in Northern California now. And my whole life, I kind of had just kind of like wild and unkempt looking hair. It never really did what it was supposed to do. When I tried to blow dry it straight, it wouldn't stay. I don't know. I could never get products to work correctly. I didn't know what to do. Anyways, 4 years ago, with my younger daughter and her best friend and my best friend, we went on a road trip, a 3-week road trip through the Southeast. We were in New Orleans. We went to Tennessee. We were in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And by about the time, so we started the road trip in New Orleans and then made our way, and we ended in Georgia. So by the time we got to North Carolina, my hair looked like I had a squirrel on the top of my head. Like, it had grown so big and poofy and out of control that I did not know what to do with myself. And so I had sent a picture, a selfie to my oldest daughter, and I was like, clearly the wildlife likes me. I got a squirrel in my head. We always do the self-deprecating humor with one another and send bizarre like selfies to one another. And she was like, oh man, that's like out of control. Do you have leave-in conditioner? You should give it a try. And I was like, actually, I did bring leave-in conditioner. I brought a leave-in conditioner that she gave me that I literally only finished this year. So it was probably 10 years old by the time it got finished. That's one of the pictures of products that I found that I had already decluttered it, but I took a picture of it. So I did notice the picture today when I was scrolling through my camera. And if I can figure out how to add pictures in to all of this, I will share that maybe at the end of the video of what that leave-in conditioner was. So anyway, so I did do the leave-in conditioner, and it did calm my hair down. It stopped being so wild and crazy. And then I was just using it every single day at that point because it was very hot and humid. It was a more hot and humid summer than usual. And earlier when we were in New Orleans, they were telling us they were really concerned about the foul weather they're going to get. Will they get it too soon? So we knew we were kind of dealing with some rough stuff. So of course we had to fully shower, top to bottom every single day, which meant I was putting that leave-in conditioner in every single day. Then by the time I got home, within a week or two, I had gone to get a haircut. Now, at the time, my hair was down past my waist. And so when I went in to get my haircut, I think I cut like probably 6 inches off. That still put that like just above my waist, honestly. And when I got back in the house, my daughter's like, "Oh, let me look at your hair." And she does the thing that you do when you lift someone's hair up and you look at the layers. And she said, "What what did you do today at the salon?" And I said, "Oh, I just had her cut it. And, a little bit of thinning out, because it was getting a little bit heavy." And she was like, "Your hair is actually curly." So in the interim of using all that leave-in conditioner and fully hydrating my hair, probably for the first time in my entire life, we found that I actually have curly hair on the underside. And when I say curly, I mean it's like top ramen curls. And so at that point I went, wow, that's wild. Is that why my hair is always unkempt? Because I wasn't taking care of curly hair properly? I guess. So I then got on a journey of trying different products to use for curly hair. So this is one of the items, Curl Talk Defining Cream. I did so many things to try to define my curl pattern and have fully curly hair. Over the time, what I found out though is I don't have like curly hair all the way through. I have what people describe as Irish curly. The underside's curly and the top gets super straight and just little unkempt. So I stopped using the curly stuff because I was like, this is a nightmare. I don't know what to do with it. But what I also found out was that the eczema that I had on my scalp my entire life, it went away when I started using curly hair shampoo. So whatever product they take out of regular shampoo for curly shampoo, apparently I'm allergic to that. So the eczema went away and I haven't had it in 4 years, and that is amazing. So if you have hair that's a little unkempt and your scalp is on fire all the time, try going to a curly hair shampoo and see if removing that ingredient helps you. Because I'm telling you, I dealt with dermatologists and other providers and so many shampoos from the time that I was like 8 years old, and nothing ever helped. So that was phenomenal. I tell as many people as I can in hopes that it helps them. All right, so here's the defining cream. It made my hair super crunchy. I did not love it, and I just finished it and got through it. At this point, I didn't realize how many hair products I had. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to throw it away. It still smelled fine. The texture was still fine. And I just had days where I didn't blow dry my hair and I did this instead. And so I was able to get through that. Boom, gone. Same story with the Curl Talk Sculpting Gel. Again, all of these products make my hair crunchy. I never really learned the best way for preventing your hair from getting crunchy. And I know there's supposed to be something that you do, and then you break a cast. And yeah, I wasn't fantastic at it. I think this is where, like, when you have somebody else who actually knows how to work with curly hair, they really, really teach you how to do it. And I just didn't have anybody to work with on that. So I got through this. I didn't have that much left this year, so that was good. This item, I have opted that I am just getting rid of this. Okay, so this is the Cantu Shea Butter Leave-In Conditioning Repair Cream. My hair is actually very, 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 very healthy right now. And when I tried using this, it smells fine. The texture seemed fine. But it was just making my hair so heavy and would just, yeah, it just was so heavy. It just didn't seem right. So this is just not right for my hair. And this was a moment where I said, it's making my hair really heavy. It's making me have to wash my hair more often. And I don't think I'm getting the benefits that I was hoping to get. So I'm just going to, this was a little tiny one out of like the travel section at the Target. And so I am just letting it go. I actually had a second full-size one. Not full size, a second full of these travel size. And I gave that to my oldest daughter to give to a friend of hers who has curly hair. And I just said, like, if this happens to be a product she uses, have at it. And if not, throw it away or give it to somebody else. But, it's not getting used here. All right, so there's that. My hairstylist recommended that I try the Moroccan oil or something similar to the Moroccan oil. So I went over to the Sephora and I said, do you have Moroccan oil? And they said, yeah, here, we've got this here. They had the big ones and they had the little ones. And this is a 1.7 ounce, 50 mils. I use one pump every night, just in the area that is outside of the ponytail holder. So not on the scalp, obviously, but the ends and middles. And I heard somebody else say that rule of thumb, if it is the amount of hair that would be held by the ponytail, everything outside of that is what you can put oils and stuff into. So that's what I've been doing. I love this. It really does keep my hair from getting frizzy because I do have a natural curl that was just unkempt. I am able to even kind of brush my hair straight and it not be frizzy when I'm using this stuff every day. So I put this in every night before I go to bed, and it has prevented my hair from being all frizzy everywhere. So that's really great. I will be keeping this bottle because it is a 1.7 ounce, which means I will be able to travel with this. I would prefer that it wasn't glass for travel, but I will wrap it in some sort of like bubble wrap so that it will be safe when I do travel. And, you know, the little top locks, so that'll be great. And when I finish this up, it was around the same time as the Sephora sale, and so I was able to get a larger bottle. I think I did the 100 ml bottle so that I could then have that. Now, I've had this for many, many much months. So I imagine I probably will go through 1.5 to 2 bottles a year of the bigger size that I got. And so depending on where I'm at will depend on if I get the new next size bottle, my replacement, if I get it in at the November sale or if I wait. We'll see. Okay. All right. So there's that. Let's do some perfumes because your girl loves perfume. All right. Let me tell you my perfume stories. Okay. So my very first perfume that a boy ever gave me, the boy being my husband, and the very first luxury perfume I ever received, that I ever had owned at all, was not this one. This one's the second one, but it was Chanel Coco. And he gave it to me for our first Valentine's Day together. It was super sweet because our first holiday together, he actually gave me like a Mandarin Chinese CD-ROM, and that is not the romantic gift that he thought it was going to be, even though I did want to learn Mandarin Chinese. So that's okay. He got better. He got better. So he gave me a perfume. So I've now had that perfume bottle for almost 30 years. This year marks 30 years of us being together. And so he gave that to me as we were coming up onto a year together. So I actually wore that Coco Chanel when we got married back in 99. And then I wore it again on the day that we renewed our vows this year in Italy. And so that was really amazing. Now, here's the thing with perfume. You're sitting there going, I didn't think perfumes lasted for almost 30 years. And really, most of the time, perfumes do not last 30 years. However, a few years back, I took a troop of travel Girl Scouts to Europe, and we went to a perfumery in Paris, and we learned there that the proper way to store perfume is not what you see in Hollywood, where everything's out on the beautiful little shelves and all that stuff, but preferably in dark containers or in the dark. Now, just out of not wanting my kids to knock over my perfume and ruin them, I had kept my perfumes tucked away in a jewelry box. And so they were in the dark all the time. And so my Coco Chanel has become like richer in scent, but it still smells amazing. It's like intoxicating. This one, though, this is Chanel Allure. And I also stored this one that way. Now, you can look at this ambery color here. It did not used to be this dark. And I had actually given this to my oldest daughter to use and have for a while. And then after a while, she's like, I have enjoyed it, but I don't love it. Do you want it back? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it back because I like it. And so I took it back and I used it, several many months back, and it was fine. And then I went to go use this about a month ago, and it went off. It went off. Now my daughter, she displays her perfumes pretty. All the pretty bottles are out on display. There's light in the room. And I think that even though for this one I've had, this one I'd had over 25 years, even though I had stored it for, 2 decades in the dark, I think just that short amount of time, I think she had it for 2 years of it being stored in the light. It really negatively impacted the quality and the availability. Now there's very little left here. And so I am only, I'm not upset about it. I'm just telling because I think it's like something that people can really benefit from knowing that. All right, so there's that. So that one I am decluttering because of that. This perfume here, it just says Rose. It's from the Duncan Mills Candle Company. Duncan Mills is this cute little town in Northern California out near Bodega Bay, and they make the perfumes there. They actually do this really sweet little thing where you can go and make your own scents. This one smelled great. I loved it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's unlikely that I will get a new one simply because I have so many other perfumes that I absolutely love. And, but I do like variety. So I use this. It was great. If ever you make it to Northern California and you go to Duncan Mills, go check out the candle company. It's fantastic. They have candles and perfumes. All right. So I did mention that I get a lot of samples from Sephora when I do online orders, and this was one of them. Now, here's the interesting thing about when you do the samples. If it's during a time like their big sales and they have a lot of online orders happening, whatever sample you request, it is as long as supplies last. So it will show in your Sephora app that you ordered a certain thing. But if they have to swap it out for something else, they do not update and tell you what they swapped it out for. So I ended up getting this Stronger With You Parfum Emporium Armani. So I thought, oh, this is the U from Armani. And so when I went to go smell that, it did not smell like this. And I didn't understand. And so I asked for help from one of the gals at my local location. And she looked at it and I said, I don't know if there's a SKU on it or something that you can tell what this is. It's one they just threw in there. So I can't click on the link to get brought to the actual item. She's like, oh, gosh, I hate it when that happens. And then she looked and she went, oh, wait, this is actually a men's perfume. And I was like, oh, wow, it's a men's perfume. Oh, okay. Great. But they have so many men's perfumes that have the same name that I literally still have no idea which one it was. So that's a bummer. I loved this. My husband loved this. My daughter loved this. Both my daughters loved this. Everybody loved this one. And yet I have no idea which one it was. So alas, fate did not want me to have it. So I won't be getting that one. This one here, oh my gosh, this one's so hard to read. Let me see. Oh, this one is the Glossier You Do. Here's my funny story about Glossier. All right, so I'm an April birthday. And my birthday gift, I got the Glossier little kit. It came with the little blusher and 3 little sampler perfumes. It was Glossier You, Glossier You Do, and Glossier You Fleur. The Glossier You is one of my older daughter's favorites. She's always telling me how much she loves it. She pairs it with everything else. And when I put it on, I was like, oh, what do you think of my perfume today? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know what sample you got this time, but it kind of smells like dirt on you. That's not really attractive. And I said, that is bonkers. It's Glossier You. And she was like, wow, that is wild. And a bummer. She says, because that is one of my favorites. I love it. So I gave the rest of the sample to her because why do I need to have something that smells like dirt on me? It's not even like grass where people like grass. It literally smelled like dirt on me. But I did love the Glossier You Do. And I love the Glossier You Fleur. Now, the Glossier You Do, when I went to a doctor's appointment, the nurse practitioner, she's like, I never get to wear perfume working in a medical office. She's like, so I do love it when patients come in and they have really nice perfume. She's like, and whatever you have on, you need to wear that all the time because it smells amazing on you. It is simply, you got to have it. If you don't have a lot of it, you need to get more of it. And I was all, why, thank you. And it was the Glossier You Do. So I hopped right on over to the nearest Sephora. Actually, there was one not that far away from that location. And I used my gift card that my best friend gave me for my birthday, and I got 2 travel sizes. I got the Glossier Eau Douce and the Glossier Eau Fleur. I have not opened them yet because I do want to kind of finish up some other perfumes that I have going on before I do that. All right, so this, yes, I purchased it. I purchased it in a travel size though. And I purchased in a travel size because just in case I stop falling in love with it, I don't want to be stuck with a big one. And also I'm trying to be economical. And I love to do different things. And so I don't want to be stuck with anything. Okay, this here, the Say, this is the, comes in Warm Glow. And this is the glowy, I think it's Super Gel. I can't really read this because my eyesight is not fabulous. And I'm trying, like, I'm too far away. I got to get this up close. I need my magnifying glass. It's a whole thing. When you're 52, sometimes that's what happens in your world. So this was the first one I had tried on this. My daughter's like, why don't you get the little travel one if you want to try this out? I tried it out, a year ago. I loved it. It was fabulous. I really enjoyed it. I had I don't know, this much left in it or something. And I said, oh, I need to get another one. And my daughter's like, well, if you really like it, why get the little one? Why don't you get the regular size one? And I went, oh, because I didn't realize it was the little one. And she's like, yes. So I kept this in my travel bag. So I did not finish it up at that time because I was keeping it in my travel bag. And I knew I was going to a lot of different trips. From the time that I originally got this, I want to say 3 or 4 trips on tap. And so I use this when I want to do a no makeup look, or when I want to do a glowy primer kind of look. I use it for both. So I had that. I just recently finished that because I mentioned having sensitive skin. And if I use an item on my skin that is expired, it can sometimes burn my skin. So I thought, I cannot hold on to things in my travel bag. I just really need to decant them in some other way. I am going to save this and see if it's possible to decant into it. And then I instead got the big one, same color. I can't seem to get any more out unless I maybe cut the bag. I did not want to mess with cutting the bag. This is one of the items that I bought the replacement in the sale. So I got, in my sale, I did 2 of the dewy refills. I got 1 of these in the standard size. I got 1 of my Kosas foundation. I also got another foundation and such. All right, so blushers. I love blush. I really do. I love blush so much. I love blushes and I love lips. And I've had this for 2 years because I got it when I first started shopping at Sephora 2 years ago when I got my account. And it was my birthday gift. And it came with a little mascara that I already used up and went away. And then it came with this one. And here was the funny part. I had actually already purchased this color. This is At Last. I had already had the full size of this one. So I just kept it in my travel bag forever. And I used up my full size. And here we are. Here we are. I used it all up. I'm not going to do the dig out thing. I'm not going to do the dig out thing. I don't want to do the dig out thing. My daughter also got the same birthday gift when she did hers. So she literally gave me her travel one. So I don't need to do the dig out. And the smell is still correct. The texture was still correct. It still looked absolutely beautiful. I did use this when I did my vow renewal. I actually created my own cheek color. I used a combination of this, as well as some of the Charlotte Tilbury and a couple of others, and I blended them all together, and then I used my brush and applied them all on. I don't put directly onto my cheek because I don't like it when it disrupts the makeup layer down below. I instead put it onto my palette, or I'll put it onto this part of my hand so that I can then just use my brush and I can pat it in and I can have that nice kind of look. Okay, so my battery died and I needed to take a break and make dinner and all this and that. And it is a good thing that I am going to be learning how to edit through the YouTube editor this go round, because I'm going to need to, or this is never going to see the light of day. All right, so back to it. Again, this is a 6-month spread of empties, and I did find all my pictures while I was waiting for my phone to charge of items that I had taken pictures of that I did not save the bottles from, and I had already recycled them so that I can share those with you. So back in January, February, I did one of those Sephora like sampler bags, and it was lip products. And so I had a whole host of things there that I tried that I really liked, but not everything. So this one, this is the LYS. Yeah, LYS. I can't read that color. It is so little. I can't read it. Maybe you guys can see it. I can't tell. Anyways, I did like the color. I like the way it felt on my lips. It was pretty. Like, I don't know if you can see that there. That hole in there is when I was sticking a toothpick in there to try to figure out how much was left in there, because this particular packaging, it's got a clicker at the bottom, and then you click it and then it moves up, but you can't make it go back down. So in order to tell how much more was left, because there's no way to visually see that, I wanted to kind of like test it out. So I did get this all the way through. I did not do the dig out. I will not be repurchasing an LYS. I thought this packaging was so cute. I did. But look how messy this is. I I can't. I can't with the messiness of it. I actually do have diagnosed OCD. I was diagnosed with that when I was dealing with postpartum depression back when I had my second baby 26 years ago. And I was diagnosed with postpartum. I was put on medication, but at that time, my insurance required me to see a psychiatrist for management. And so I went to the psychiatrist, and after a couple of sessions, was asking me questions about how things are going and my sleep and what have you. And he said, "Oh, why didn't you disclose your obsessive compulsive disorder?" And I said, "I don't have obsessive compulsive disorder." And at that point in time, he's like, "Oh, well, then let me introduce you to your new diagnosis." And then he gave me all the ways that I definitely had OCD. So one of those things is the messiness of this. I can't. I cleaned it off multiple times over. I could never get it to apply to my lips nicely, even though it felt amazing on my lips once there. It was messy looking every time I tried to apply it, which really bothered me. And then I hate panned this. I did. I hate panned it because I hated using this particular thing. And believe it or not, I don't actually own a lip brush to be able to have just applied it that way. And then I would have been really unhappy to only have done it at home and not be able to reapply it later in the day. So I finished it. I'm glad I did it. I will not be purchasing this brand again, though, for that reason. All right, so that was the thing. Another one that was in that same lip thing was this one from Lancome. Again, like, this little mini's adorable. I did not dig it all out, and here's the reason why. This beautiful color, the packaging, so adorable, so cute. Loved it, especially loved the mini. It felt amazing on my lips, and it disappeared within like 5 seconds. So I was constantly reapplying. So I got through this so fast because every time I walked past the mirror or even like just glanced at anything, I could see that there was nothing on my lips. And I have really, really pale lips, so it's noticeable when I don't have something on them. So I ended up I finished it up so fast. I mean, seriously, I finished it up within like less than 2 weeks. So I loved it, but I'm not going to get it again because it disappears and I couldn't get it to stick. And I even tried the whole trick with doing powder, like putting some on, doing the powder, and then reapplying. It still didn't help keep it on. So that's okay. I loved it. I did appreciate trying it, and it made me very happy. The next thing that had come out of this kit that I went through was this little mini Summer Fridays. This was in, I think it was like Sugar Crush. Again, I'm having difficulty reading all this stuff. It's later in the day. It's after dinner now, and my vision just starts to get tired by the end. So this, I really love the way it felt. It was not quite as much color as I would have liked, uh, but I had never tried the formula before, and I love the formula enough so that I did purchase when I saw one of those cute little duos that came in with, I think it's like birthday cake and something else. I did go ahead and purchase that. However, I have not opened it yet because I have a lot of lippies that I want to get through before I open that. And then I'll keep one in my purse so that I can really be working on my hydration. My lips get chapped easily. Again, it's the whole being very dry business. Also, I when I don't use my CPAP, I breathe through my mouth, dries my lips, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so I like this. I like the formula. I like the way it was dispensed. So I like the way it fit on my lips, and I could really control the amount that was coming out, and it didn't spread all over the place in weird ways. So that's a repurchase for me, and then I'm waiting on that. Okay, the next thing I have here, this is my Fenty Beauty. Oh my gosh. This is our cat, Sheldon. Uh, he is feeling left out because my grandson was here today. And so now he wants attention. And when you have a cat, you can tell them to stay off your countertop all you want, but they don't listen. And so we just have to wash our countertops all the time, before and after everything, because he's going to come up. Especially if I'm right here. He just really wants pets right now. So I'm going to keep on going. You guys are just going to need to appreciate Sheldon because he's going to pop in and out of these videos from time to time. Okay, so this is my Fenty Heat, and it is in the color, I believe it was in maybe Fussy. Let me see if I can see this here. Fussy Heat, yeah. All right, I love the color. This was my very first Fenty gloss, and I loved the way that it glossed, the shimmer of it. It was so beautiful. I got the Heat because I wanted the concept of a little bit of a lip plumping, because I'm not happy with specifically my upper lip. I feel like my upper lip is just a little thin, and I thought, oh, if I could just help it out a little bit with a little bit of a lippy product, maybe that'd be great. It wasn't too bad, but the reality is I didn't like the sensation of the heat on my lip. And my husband also would comment that he didn't like it. So then he would always be like, if he'd go to like come in and say hi, he'd be like, oh, what do you have on your lips? Before he'd even, give me a kiss to say hi when he got home from work. So I was happy to have finished this. I love the color. I think I might even have something else in the same color. And so I'm really happy with the product in general, the way the formulas work, but I won't be getting Heat again. I do have one more Heat product because when I got that little lippy set with the sampler, it did come with a little tiny mini Heat in chocolate. And I did use that a little bit, and I've taken a break from it because it's very dark, and I think it's going to be more so like a winter color for me. So I'm saving it till then, and I already checked the expiration date, and it should be fine. Okay, so that's that one. So these next couple, here's one of these items. This is Shiseido, and the color is beautiful. I love the color. It is like a mauve color. It smells like a major crayon right now. And it just doesn't feel great, but I loved the color. I have no idea where I got it. It probably came from a relative who got it from, when they bought face stuff or whatever, or who knows, maybe even it was one of those gift with purchases when I would buy face cream for my mother-in-law. She used Shiseido creams, and it could have been from that. I really, truly have no recollection of where this came from. I just found it in my stuff when I was decluttering, probably like 1 or 2 years ago. And I wasn't wearing lipstick at the time. And so that's a bummer because I do love lipstick. I really actually do like bullet lipsticks. I love the glosses, but I also love bullet lipsticks. So this is right up my alley for colors. I am a soft summer, and colors like this are absolutely up my alley. Um, but you know what? I wasn't wearing makeup at the time that I stuffed this in a drawer of some sort. So that's okay. I have others. I don't even remember where I got this from, but I know it has to be forever. So we're probably talking decades. So this is gone, decluttered. That's that. And then I've got this guy here. So I often, when I have things, will pass it on to one of my two daughters or my bonus daughter if it didn't work for me. My oldest daughter is slightly more fair than I am. So if things, she has slightly different undertones, so then sometimes things will work for her. Or sometimes like setting sprays or whatever, I won't be completely in love with it, or the primer just wasn't quite right for me, but it is for her, and so I'll pass it her way. She does the same thing in my direction. When I have something that is just pulling too bright or dark on me, I can then sometimes pass it to my younger daughter because she actually has, she's slightly deeper skin tone than I am. So that really works. And she's kind of like a neutral to like yellow undertones. So that works for her. And then my bonus daughter is my oldest son's girlfriend. And she's been in the family for 5 years now. So she's my bonus daughter, and she has much deeper skin tone than I do, and she is more like a neutral undertone as well. But things that pull orange on me tend to look phenomenal on her. So like I actually did just give her a sculpting. Like a sculpting bronzy kind of thing that I was trying out, that it wasn't the right color for me. I picked it up simply because I was trying to have something for traveling, and that would be a tiny size, and I was trying the formula of the Makeup by Mario, and it didn't really work for me. I knew it was going to work for my other two, but when she swatched it on her, it was beautiful. It was just like simply stunning. So I'm really fortunate that I have three daughters that I can pass things over to, and then also I get things passed to me. So that's what this item was. So this item here is this sugar honey fresh something or other that it says. And it's a very interesting concept. I mean, you twist it open and then you twist it up. And this was my oldest daughter's. She had this. She is addicted to lippies. And this one was fine. I actually brought this with me to Italy. I used it the whole time on the plane because I wanted something that was not going to look super shimmery. I didn't want something that was going to be super shiny, something that was really easy to maintain in the little pocket of my little purse. And it was great, and it smelled fine, and it felt great. And then it just must have turned. It probably oxidized is going to be my guess from how much I was then using it, because it probably hadn't been used in a long time. And then once I got back from Italy, I tried using it back at the end of May, and it just wasn't right. So this is now decluttered, but that wasn't even mine. So there's that. This one, this Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump from Tarte. Um, no clue the color because that tag came off. I think that means it's probably extra old because I feel like they changed packaging is what I'm hearing from others. I see here that it said maybe 12 months for the little use there. I guarantee you it's older than that. But the color, and it's like this like mauvey kind of color, so up my alley. This was my oldest daughter's. She tried it for a while. You can see where it no longer can click. So it's got the little clicker, click, click, click. She warned me about that beforehand, so I was like, thank you. I used it for a while. I'm going to guess it was probably somewhere down in here, in the between Maracuja and Juicy when she gave it to me, because I used it for quite a bit. And just based upon how long it took me to get from here to here, and then it doesn't click out anymore at this point. And I wasn't going to dig out. Like, I could have dug out the rest of that, but again, I didn't want to. Digging it out means I don't get to reapply, and this was something I got from my daughter, and I didn't need to do that. I have a lot of lippies, but I also love a challenge. And this was one of those things that was a challenge of how many of my lippies can I get through and how many of my daughters that she didn't want to get through can I get through. And I am very competitive on stuff like that. So I really did like this, but I gotta say, I hate the packaging. I do not like when you have to do a click and you don't know how much you have left. And I don't like that you can't check it. I love a bullet lipstick because I can twist it up, look at it, see how much is there, and twist that puppy back down. And I really like that concept. I don't enjoy any of these opaque containers. I especially don't enjoy something that is a clicker, because then if I clicked too much by accident, then I've really just wasted stuff and made a huge mess. So I don't enjoy doing that. But I did love the way the formula felt. It says lip plump, but it was not stingy or anything. So, and I have heard others on their channels say that the same thing. So that's great. So I really did make a point of these two really working hard to pan these. So I think it was in April to May, I was just really like going gangbusters on the two of these, as well as my Charlotte Tilbury mini pillow talk. And that one's going to be in a project pan of mine. All right, so I've got a couple of other items I wanted to just share. So here is a sunscreen. I got this sunscreen because a couple of years back, my husband and I went to Fiji, and I am very sensitive to the sun, and I get sunburned very easy. And so I contacted a girlfriend of mine who she does scuba diving, and she has spent her whole life just in the pool, in the sun, and really now is like working hard to protect her son, or her skin from the sun. And so I know, because she does so many water vacations, I knew that she would know exactly what kind of sunscreens I could do that would also be reef safe, because I wanted to be responsible in what I was doing. And so this one, Kinesis, I think is how it's pronounced. It's oil-free. It was clear. It says for active skin. I'm guessing it means you're out there doing stuff. It was a broad spectrum. This one was only at 30 SPF, so it's a little bit low for what I would normally do, but I did do a reapplication of it when I was on my trip, and the expiration dates, I couldn't find it on here. So I used this one all up, and I did that on my arms and the back of my neck and such when I would go on my walks. And then I had my others that I couldn't read the expiration dates on. Things had been washed off, that I was then using in June, which then all of a sudden I started getting more of a tan on my arms. So I fear that some of the other sunscreens I was then using, either it's this one or others, that they really were expired. So I am very sensitive. I did not include it in this empties that I'm showing, because these were mostly empties with a couple of declutters because they were really, really old. But I do have a whole slew in my June empties that I'm going to have to show declutterings that I did for sunscreen when I realized that they were expired. Or if I started using something and I couldn't read the expiration date, but then I noticed that I was starting to get a tan, I'm then just going to guess it's expired. So this was a great product. I love the size. It's the 1 ounce. I got it because when we went to Fiji, we were absolutely only doing carry-on. We got conflicting information on how heavy our luggage could be. And when you go to the various islands in Fiji, you then you take your big plane from wherever you're flying from to get into Fiji. And then to get to the other islands, you take puddle jumpers. And so they weigh you with your luggage, which, yuck. That wasn't a fun experience. I told that lady she better keep that number to herself. But they didn't assign your seat so that they can have equal weight across the plane. So, yeah, it was... I was much heavier then than I am now. I think I've lost 40 or 50 pounds since then. But we did all carry-on stuff. So anyways, there's that. All right, and then one last item I'm going to share. And this is not a beauty item. This is not a beauty item, but my channel is not a beauty-specific channel. My channel is is about, living your life day in, day out, and then the choices that you're making. And some of the things that I am doing in my day to day is creating moments, moments of just things that make me smile and make me feel joyful. Um, you will learn I am not very political or anything else in my choices of products. I said I have OCD. It is, actually diagnosed, and I will go down the rabbit hole of reviewing if a product is good for me or not. And so I actually just can't. I can't do it because it will actually negatively impact my life in a way that I will not be able to touch anything. So I have to be cautious in how I do things so that I do not flare up my OCD. I'm not currently requiring medication for that. And that's kind of nice to not need that. But if I were to flare up my OCD by doing things that trigger it, then I would require medication. And I would like, I think, as most people would be able to manage all of my health conditions with my daily existence. So whether it's diet, exercise, or behavior modification. In this case, it's behavior modification in that I do not get myself down pathways that will trigger my OCD. So whether you think this product's okay or if another product is better, I picked this product because it had a pink rose petal scent. I love roses. I love the scent of roses. And I also love to burp my room at the beginning of the day. And if you don't know what burping the room is, you basically open up the windows and you get a nice cross breeze. And then also uh, the thing that they used to do back in the day is instead of just jumping straight out of bed and making your bed, you get out of bed and you pull all your covers and sheets back and it airs out your bed and it cuts down on bacterial growth between your washings. And then I also go over and I spritz this over so that I just have that really beautiful rose scent. I love having a rose scent everywhere on my skin, in my room. Yeah, so that's one of the things. So because this is not specifically a beauty channel and this is an intentional living channel, this is one of my intentional living things that I do. All right, so I hope that I'm able to get the pictures that I want to get for you onto here. I did get them all onto my computer from my phone. I am already started transferring stuff from the phone to the computer for the videos. And this is, again, part of what I'm doing is learning how to do YouTube and all that comes along with that. So if you guys have better suggestions on how to be able to edit, I've already found things that I want to do differently on when I do these kinds of videos. I was using my panel light with my phone, and I'm not sure that I exactly love the angling and how far I had to reach with my really short arms. I'm only 4'11", so I have short arms, and like I am leaning against a counter, and like I'm right there. So that's some of the stuff that I'm doing. Also, I fully recognize that I had too much gap of nothing in the screen but my counter and backsplash, and I will be working on that. So thank you for showing some grace, and I look forward to growing in my channel and meeting all of you. And if you made it through to the end, thank you for being here. And if nothing else, I hope you got your dishes done, your kitchen clean, your laundry folded, or whatever other random project you were working on and body doubling to my voice in the background. Have a great evening. Thanks.